What if I told you that building wealth isn't just about money, it's about community? Because without the right people, your financial journey will always fall short.
So, who's the real problem in the black community? Is it the men or the women? Let's talk about it. All right. So, in this episode, I want to talk about the power of community investing. And so, there's a school of thought out there that says women in our community have had to step up and be something that they were not built to be because the men weren't there. Now, you guys know my story. I had a son out of wedlock at 22 with a black woman, and I wasn't there. So she had to be, the father and the mother, the big sister, the big auntie, all of those things in one, right? And so, because of my immaturity, I allowed my son to be raised by a woman. And so, some of the things that he's had to deal with, I can't be mad at him about it, right? I got to be mad at myself because I wasn't there to be who he needed to be. Now, where am I going with this? So in 2020, a group of men that I rock with, we started coming together on the heels of COVID kind of slowing down a little bit. So it was like the fall of 2020, and so we would just meet every Saturday and we would just discuss men stuff, right? So we would talk about what it's going to look like once COVID is over, what it's going to look like on the other side, all of this kind of stuff, right? So we just rocking. And so we started pulling in more and more and more men. I think at our height, we had like 24, 25 guys that were meeting on Saturdays, right? And so me, I'm always talking about money and finance and how we can grow and invest and all of these kind of things. And so we came up with the idea that everyone in the group could start to present. So we would have like these little mini workshops. Again, I'm always looking at how we can grow people, get them to the next level, help them, become something they never imagined they could be. And so my whole idea behind this was to just give a platform to black men to be able to talk and work through some of those things, right? So lo and behold, me, LP, H, we started thinking company, right? So we LLC'd the thing, turned it into the Guardians Group. We started looking at investment opportunities. We started pooling our money together. We made a bid to buy a grocery store in Dallas. It didn't quite work out, but we were able to raise in that little small group almost $80,000. And so a light bulb went off, and I said to myself, man, we need to replicate what we are doing here. And that's where the whole idea of community wealth building and community investment groups came from. So when I think about like where we can go with this as a community, I think about us being able to replicate this from city to city. Now, this is one of those episodes where y'all you gotta talk back to me. You gotta send me some information. You gotta, rock with me so we can see if this is something that y'all actually want to do. Because I hear it when I travel and people see me and, I talk to them and stuff and they're like, yo, that idea that you guys had, that's really it. And so I'm like, okay, well, what's the next steps? We're already doing it, right? So what's the next steps? How do we help you in Cleveland? How do we help you in New York? How do we help you in Chicago? Get these types of groups going so we can have some galvanization behind what we're actually trying to get. So it all starts with practical steps. So what I'm going to do is kind of lay a blueprint for how we were able to get to where we got, right? Because some people, they'll hear this and they're like, yeah, it sounds really cool, but how do we do it, right? And so I'm gonna give you some of the steps. So step number one for us, we found a meeting space. And that's important, right? Because you wanna have consistency, especially when it comes to men, right? Because men, especially on a Saturday, right? There's a lot of things I could be doing other than sitting in a room sharing my feelings with a bunch of other men, right? Now we all know this is what we need to be doing, but the game on, the barbecue is going, the pool, it's all these other things pulling at us, right? But our mental health is suffering because of it. So the first thing is find a location where you can meet consistently. If it costs a couple of dollars, pay the person a couple of dollars and make sure if you say we're going to meet the first Saturday every month, then meet the first Saturday of every month. The second thing is have a agenda. All right. So if you don't work in corporate world, you may be thinking to yourself, like, I don't even know what the hell an agenda is. You've been to a play, you've been to a meeting before, you've been to church. Like all of these institutions have an agenda, a run sheet. They know what they're going to do from minute to minute. So put this together. Now, how do you do that? One, find somebody that has that expertise, or just hit Chat GPT up. Say, Chat GPT, I'm starting a men's group. We're going to meet every, first Saturday of the month. Give me the next 6 months of talking points and in an agenda. And guess what? Boom, it'll print it out for you. So now you have some structure. Again, if you're having people come in and be a part of something, you don't want to try and figure it out as you're building it, right? It's like being on a runway and you're hoping the plane takes off, but it has no wheels. It has no wings, right? So you're building it as you're going. You don't want to do that. Trust me, that's what we did. That's why I'm giving you the blueprint so you don't have to do it that way. So once you have a location, once you have some structure set in place, start allowing individuals to be a part of the leadership of it, right? Now, be very careful, because it's always somebody that want to come in and take over stuff and change it and, move it in a different direction. But set some goals, some expectations, some guidelines for what you want the group to be. Maybe you guys don't want to go buy a grocery store. Maybe you want to show people how to start, building an investment account. Well, lock into what I'm doing, show the video, and say, yo, let's do what that dude is telling us to do. And then that's where you start to build up your group. Each one teach one, each one reach one. And then you start bringing in your younger guys, right? That's one of the things that I really loved about our group, right? Like most of us that started the group, we were in our 30s and 40s, but we started reaching out to younger men, 18, 19, 20, 22, those young professionals that could come in and be a part of what we're building. So again, each generation has to pour into the next generation. We can't expect them to know what they should know if we don't teach them. Who else care about a black man other than a black man? So we have to reach back and be helping each other. All right, some of the benefits, though, it's not just about money. It's about sharpening. In the Bible, it says iron sharpeneth iron, right? And so what we started to notice is our young men, some of them were, dating and those kind of things at the time. And so they looking at us. I've been married 17, LP been married 10, H been married 12, Artist been married. So they looking at all of us and saying, well, how do you get to 10, 15, 20 years of marriage? So now we really pouring into these cats. We're really giving them game and turning them on to being a man in 2025. So going back to that story that I was telling before about my 22-year-old stupid self, if I had some men like the ones that I'm talking about right now, maybe I don't make those mistakes that I made trying to raise my son as a, single father. I digress. All right, so you have to start somewhere. And so, like I said, I wanted to give you all some starter steps, some blueprint steps to help you create a vision for what you're trying to do in your community. We need these incubating groups because they're going to help us, of course. You're going to learn something from somebody that you didn't think that you would even have a conversation with a lot of times. And don't get it twisted. Don't think that this is like a black thing or a white thing or a Hispanic thing. It should be a communal group. So if you got some guys that, don't necessarily look like you, but they want to rock with the group, they bringing in something that is substantial to the group, bring them in. We never told anybody that they couldn't come to the group. It was just because of the connections and the relationships that we had that our group ended up looking like it looked. All right, so that's all I got today, y'all. So listen, like, share, subscribe. Hit me up in the DMs. Keep following what we're doing here because we're really trying to create a momentum and a movement within our culture. I've said it before. If we allow others to define our culture, then we give them permission to, feed us or starve us or whatever they want to do. But once we start creating our own culture, once we create the rules of what our culture is going to look like, we get a chance to help those young men, those young women. So we have some unity across the board with both our brothers and our sisters. So I started out asking, who's the real problem in our community? It's all of us. It's all of our responsibility. All right. Think and grow rich. I'll see y'all on the next one.